as every Sunday. Sound engineer was them Muhammad. And tonight we've got a guest with us, author Ahmed Abd Elreheem Sheikh. How would you like to be best known, Ahmed? Ahmed Abd Elreheem.
Ahmed Abd Elreheem, yes.
Yeah, that's the author's name as it is written on the books.
Yes.
We'll talk about Ahmed, what he's done so far. He's done a lot. He's done quite a lot. You'll be amazed. And we'll talk about that in full. We'll take a quick break and then we'll return with Ahmed Abd Elreheem. Welcome to I've Been There.
Thank you.
Right, let's take you to Scorpions and then we'll be back in a few seconds. A good start with Scorpions and a moment in a million years. Back to our author Ahmed Abd Elreheem. Hello and welcome to Radio Cairo.
Hello, Omneya. I'm so glad and so flattered. I'm so honored to be with you today.
The honor is mine.
Thank you.
It's been 11 years since you've been here, right?
I was a guest with Ashraf Gandhi here in the same studio, and you know for sure that I'm an old listener for the PM program. Yes. And being here is like I always used to look to the European program as my second home, and I loved you guys for about 10 years. You are the best and still are the best. I've learned a lot from you, and now I'm a guest again here. It's simply.
Well, it's a pleasure and an honor and a pride to see young listeners of Radio Cairo blossom to be big authors and well-known figures in the society. A number of listeners of mine have really become quite successful, and that it is really a source of pride. It makes you feel that your work is worth the while, that you are doing something important. You are ingraining maybe very little seeds, a few seeds in youth's minds that could blossom to be something one day. Well, anyway, we're very honored to have you. And I'm going to give the listeners right now a very brief account of who Ahmed Abd Elreheem is. Ahmed was born in Cairo in 1978. He had a BA in history from the Faculty of Arts, Cairo University, a BA in script writing from the Higher Cinema Institute. He wrote comics series for various Arab and Egyptian magazines, and if you care to give us a number of examples.
I did that in Magid and Atonada and Paris and Ala Ad-Din and Magnoon, and there's more in Egypt and out of Egypt.
In Egypt and in Arab countries as well.
Of course.
Yes, of course. You also wrote scenarios of various animation pictures. And of course you are the author of a short story collection by the name of Al-Mashhad Al-Mahdouf with Suad Hosni on the cover page, and it is a publication of Dar Kien, right?
Kien, yes.
Yeah, and that one was published in the year 2011, the year of the revolution. You are registered also as a film critic.
Yes.
You have produced short video clips of famous songs and famous music compositions
on YouTube.
And you have a personal site on YouTube.com, Ahmed Abd Elreheem.
Yes.
Right.
In English and without any underscores or anything.
Yeah, Ahmed Abd Elreheem. Yes, it's Ahmed with an E. Abd Elreheem. I mean, it's all one word. No, I mean, no dashes, nothing at all. Just one word. Ahmed Abd Elreheem. You've also painted. You have paintings.
Yes. Yeah.
So you are a multifaceted a talent. I mean, you're not only an author. You're not only a painter. You're not only a script writer. A comics writer. You are a variety of things together. You also received various awards for script writing and for children's books as well, for writing children's books. Which of all these talents is, well, the most favorable to yourself? Which do you find yourself in most?
You know, my mother always tells me, do a business card. Please do a business card with all your emails and your phones and whatever. And I always ask myself, okay, what I can write under my name, the profession. What is the profession? But I think since the last 6 or 7 years, I decided that I am a scriptwriter. Nothing more. Doing painting and writing reviews, film reviews, all of that are hobbies for me, which I do with great seriousness. But my main profession is writing scripts.
Yeah, so you are a script writer.
Yes.
What about the short story collections that you've written? We've got 2 of them now, Al-Mashhad Al-Mahdoof, 2011, and your latest, Wlad El-Magnonna, is that a 2014 publication?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a lovely book by all means, definitely
Thank you very much.
worthy of a read. And well, this is what we're going to discuss mostly after we get to know who you are. Just let's start many years back, and back to childhood years. And you obviously started with all these talents back in childhood. Did any of your parents notice you were a good writer, a strong writer?
They noticed that I can paint only. Writing came after that. Believe it or not, I used to write my memoir since the age of 6.
6?
Yes, with horrible Arabic, of course. But I'm still doing it now with better Arabic, hopefully. And at the age of 8, I did like a collection of short stories for children.
Oh, 8, at the age of 8.
Yes,
That's
and I still keep it right now. My handwriting was terrible, but anyway. And at the age of 8, I did like adventures it was something so close to the comics that I write right now. I did something named The Adventures of Khamis Goma. It was, stories about the misadventures of 2 friends, like an odd couple. Someone of them is serious, and someone was, funny. Someone was so rational, and the other was crazy. And strangely, that was the origin of the first comic series I have ever did in Omneya magazine. It was named T2Ish. It was about a pharaonic inventor who travels into time and befriends with a sloppy kid from 2008. And they live in every episode like an adventure in terms of finding a job or making a project. So the start is connected to the end, I think.
Right. So I mean, it developed with you from one thing to another, and yes. You developed along the age from childhood to teenage. And did you find a lot of encouragement from your parents? Yes.
In terms about writing and drawing, they were very supporting. And my father, Allah yarhamu, he used to buy all the comics magazine out there, Magid, Miki, Samir. Back then in the 80s, there was
no Tintin.
No, it was before my time. Superman and what else? There was Magaletti, there was Basim. All of that was in my home. I read it heavily in my childhood. I think it left a big impact on me as a writer now.
Right. What about other influences? I mean, when you started growing up and before you became a writer yourself, who did you read for, and who left, I mean, I'm speaking about writers, who left the greatest impact on your writing style, on your thinking, generally speaking?
Like I said, in my childhood I read comics, and after that, back in my teen days, I was reading Dr. Bil Farouk. He's an honorable writer, of course, with series like رجل مستحيل and Left المستقبل and things
I
like
never
that.
read these things. I hated these things.
No,
I don't know.
why?
There are lots of girls who love them, by the way, but it's just me and how my brain is made. I don't like. I never read them. I had so many friends who read these crime stories and stuff. Are they crime stories? Can they
No.
be branded crime stories?
As
Sci-fi maybe.
Oh,
Sci-fi.
yeah, as for رجل مستحيل, it was like an action series.
Ah.
Spy, espionage, that sort of thing. But it was lovely. It was enjoyable. It was really respected, and he did it in a very classy way.
Yeah, and he's very popular with. I mean, not only with teenagers and stuff. People still remember him now in their old age and appreciate him. Those who appreciate this kind of literature. I just don't. I hate James Bond movies and stuff. I just don't like this kind of.
It's
of writing.
Speaking of this, he is like the right version of James Bond. James Bond is like all about sex and violence, and he's really stupid character, by the way. But Adam Sabri back in رجل مستحيل, he was like an angel compared to that devil. And yeah, after that phase, I went to read every single writer out there. I remember reading for the ironic or satirical writers like Ali Salim and Yusuf Aouf and Mahmoud Saadani, of course. And after that came like the more rational phase with reading plays and novels and collection of short stories for. But always there are two writers who I respect the most, and I think they have the most impact on me. The first is Naguib Mahfouz, of course, and the second is Gabriel Garcia Marquez.
I knew it.
Yes.
Since we're going to talk about magical realism, because it's rampant in Wlad El-Magnonna, and it's, I have to admit, very elegantly employed, because sometimes you read Egyptian writers who are very talented, but they use magical realism suddenly. I mean, you are reading just a perfectly realistic book, a perfectly realistic novella or novel, and suddenly something weird happens, and then you ask, yeah, it's magical realism. You didn't have any
rooting.
I mean, rooting for it. I mean, there was no development leading to this. It just happened all of a sudden, and you just find it a bit distasteful. But in a number of stories in Wlad El-Magnonna where you employed magical realism, it just comes very readily with the story, and from the start, so okay, fine, we're talking here something. I mean, this is magical realism. From the start. I mean, you employ it in a very a professional way. So I mean, when we speak magical realism, I mean, Gabriel Garcia Marquez, of course, I mean, definitely pops up in one's mind.
When I firstly read him, I read a collection of short stories by him and a novel named The Autumn of the Patriarch, Khalif al-Patriarch. And oh my God, I discovered a whole new world for me. But it isn't a strange word, because magical realism is related to all of us in Egypt in specific. For instance, when someone writes a story about a mother, let's say an Egyptian mother, and who her son is living abroad, and how she senses him and feels him, maybe in dreams, sees him, and how she knows about him when he's sad or when he's glad. When an American reader, American one reads this story, he will think, okay, this is like science fiction or fantasy or a story about the telepathic connections. But in Egypt, we live that as a fact. Qalb al-Ummah, as we say. So magic is like a natural part of our daily life. It's basic element in our world. And I think that because firstly we believe in God, we believe in the unknown, we believe in the supernatural forces and metaphysical matters. But in the West, in America and Europe in specific, science is more captivating. It's like, I'm sorry to say it, but it's like a god for them there. And partly that's why Harry Potter novels are successful there, because they presented to them like an absent element, a very rare thing. Magic for them is very rare, very unfamiliar. But in Egypt,
there are magicians there and witches and all, and it's present in their culture.
In modern day writing, I think that magical realism isn't really popular there, and one of the reasons why, there's a movie nominated for the Oscar right now, Birdman. Birdman did a lot of has or had a lot of success right now because of the way he uses magical realism in a very beautiful touches throughout the movie. So
have you seen like boiling water to chocolate?
No.
It's also it's I think she was a Colombian author. I don't remember the name right now, but it's the movie was based on a novel by that lady author that I'm going to remember the name of in a while. But it was a magical realism movie. It was out of this world, beautiful in every sense of the word. I think she was Colombian, if I remember well. I don't know why magical realism is the realm of Latin America. You find many good Latin American writers very good at magical realism stories.
I think in Egypt we have that in sort of way. We must just express that in novels and short stories and whatever. Because
you can't say that. Like, let's take an example from Wlad El-Magnonna. مشكلة الشمس. The sun is stuck in the east. It doesn't want to continue its rise. It doesn't want to rise, and the people of the village are doing their best to move it, to hold it, and they're devising different ways of dealing with the sun. Some want to move it with a rope. Some want to remind me of the waves. It's like they can hold it with their hands just like a ball.
Yes.
So, and you accept that and read, how are they going to deal with it eventually? It's amazing how you do it so smoothly.
Thank you very much. I'm so flattered by hearing that. And as for the مشكلة الشمس or problem of the sun, I was trying to express the tragedy of a smart boy in a very ignorant, or I won't say stupid, but very ignorant environment.
Yeah.
And it's about it's about how ignorance can stop time. Because when sun is stuck
in the horizon.
Yes. Yeah. We are living like a forever moment of nothing.
We are not moving ahead. We're not moving forward. We're stuck where we are, and this is how nations become backward, because they're not moving with time. Yeah. So this is the image eventually.
I look to magical realism. Like part of our life. Like it is not a device I use to make my stories strange or bizarre or even attractive. It's not a way to add beauty to the ugliness that I feel. No, it's like it's out there. It's part of the life we are living, part of our faith.
Yeah. And how does the boy manage to move the sun eventually?
He talked to her and felt her sadness, and finally she found someone who appreciates her, so she continued writing, and by the way he sang for her.
He sang for her. I remember he sang for her. So maybe we should sing to, I don't know if you want us to move forward, not to stand still in time, to tomorrow, to science, to and stop taking things from the past the way they are just handed down to us. Maybe that's a major problem that Arab cultures have fallen prey to, that we take old interpretations of everything, and they're just handed down to us, and we take them as they are. They are the efforts of the people who lived centuries ago, and we should live our time and look forward to the future. We're stuck in an era long gone by. Right, we'll continue with Ahmed Abd Elreheem, and we're talking about his latest collection of short stories published in 2014, Wlad El-Magnonna. Very interesting and a very good read, I promise you. Our phone number, by the way, is 2578940, in case you're interested in talking to Ahmed Abd Elreheem or in making any commentary on what we're talking about. Right, I leave you now to the chorus and run away. Radio Cairo is the 33 minutes upon the hour of 11. This is I've Been There, Wissam Muhammad on the controls, on the mic, Omneya Badr, and with us is author Ahmed Abd Elreheem, talking about a variety of his work, but concentrating on the 2014 publication by
Dar
al-Adham, and it is called Wlad El-Magnonna. A definitely good read. Right, and I remember the name of the Latin American writer who wrote the original novel for Like Water to Chocolate. Her name is Laura Esquivel. Speaking of magical realism, it was a wonderful movie that came out in the year 1992. Right, we now go back to the collection of short stories, Wlad El-Magnonna. And by the way, Wlad El-Magnonna was available for purchase in the Cairo book fair.
It is, yes.
It still is, and well, it should be a good opportunity for us to get to know new writers and get to read different new things. Let's talk about the element of autobiography in your stories, because moving from one story to another, I can't help but sense that there's like a link between all the persona, or all the, let's say, the narrators of the story, or the main character of each story. There's something in each and every character linked to the next. Like, I feel that they all suffer loneliness, detachment from society. Is that true? Is that autobiographical? Well, they are very unhappy with their friends who don't inquire about them, and who don't treat them like with the same interest and kindness. See, I could not help but feel that many characters in the stories suffered this kind of loneliness. No more lonely nights, but obviously. I couldn't help but think that must be a bit autobiographical. This is Ahmed Abd Elreheem speaking.
Well, I prefer to like, I want to keep the answer of this question for myself, or maybe for psychiatrists with a group therapy or something like that. So, but I've always thought that it's not a matter of which part of the story was true and which was false. It's all about which was good and which was bad. This is the whole idea for me. But I think that every writer leaves like big part of himself in every story or every writing he does. But the thing is, while writing this collection in specific, I think I was living like a very sad part of my life. I wrote it in a very dark mood, let's say. That believe it or not, in one point of my life, I lived like a mess of relationships. I encountered many bad experiences with people, and that's why all of that is felt in this book. But which was false and which was true, which is based on your own life and which wasn't. It's not that important for any reader. For instance, in Mushkilat Shams, it's about a boy who speaks to the sun and the sun speaks him back.
You never spoke to the sun?
I didn't speak to the sun ever, otherwise I would be crazy. So it's like
Why Sayyidina Ibrahim told the moon, Rabbi wa Rabbuk Allah. You can speak to God's creation in whichever way. So it happens.
I've always dreamed of asking Naguib Mahfouz about matters and specific points in his work. Did you really have this relationship with that girl? Did you live this experience? But actually, and he died, of course. I couldn't ask him things like that, and I felt disappointed. But after that, I discovered that it's not really the issue here. It's not really that important for me as a reader to know which part was real and which part was imaginary.
Maybe I'm saying it's autobiographical because I find that I find it familiar with how I think or how I feel, because I felt with those people in or those characters in those stories, because we all suffer these kinds of friends who don't call back, who are not interested, and then in the end you fall out with each other. I mean, it happens. You are detached, and that's that. So maybe, I don't know if it's like modern day world or modern day Egypt with all the developments happening in the past few years. People have really become so much apart, and maybe I'm just saying it's autobiographical and personal, because it's, with me it's personal, because I mean, I identify with it. Maybe that's why I thought it is personal or autobiographical.
I remember 10 years ago I heard you on the radio, and you were talking about the base of the hate life we're living, and how it is like, for me it's a monster. It divided. It's dividing us every day, and to the extent that I can't find my real friend, and how we can share a moment together, because he has issues and he has responsibilities, and I am the same. So we are living like a big marathon, and we can't look to each other and have that moment when we are talking about our bad experiences and whatever. So I think it's partly because of the rhythm, the sick rhythm which we're living.
Yes, and also other than everybody is being busy with work and their own lives and stuff, also smartphones and tablets, and I mean all these modern devices have really driven people apart. And people, instead of like talking on the phone, they just like chat on WhatsApp or on social networks, and people have stopped talking to each other. They simply write to each other, and that's that. And I think this is driving people even further apart, to tell you the truth.
Sadly, yes.
Yeah. I'll before we talk about the criticism of your work, let me just get to the best story I liked in the whole collection, the one called Episteme Hindrustum, and it was about a young man going to get a picture taken of a personal picture, and he gets to meet the photographer in the studio. And there goes that chemistry and all the unspoken words between two young people.
She was a girl of his age, by the way.
Yeah.
No, I'm not.
And I wanted to comment on this, because I was really gripped by this story. It's very well written, very elegant. There is, from the very start of the story, a very elegant use of all the senses, colors, smells, scents, and then you move to the pictures, the man going to the studio, and then there's that erotic atmosphere between them. You sense it, but there's nothing at all. I mean, very few people are able to convey that feeling without saying something. You don't say something, but the chemistry is there, the eroticism is there, and they don't even say anything to each other. It's just the looks and how each of them feels. So how would you comment on this?
I have no comment. I have no comment at all. I'm innocent.
I'm not speaking about that.
No. Like it's like interrogation, something.
No, I'm not interrogating you. I'm speaking about how professional the story is written, how the idea came to your mind.
It was a moment I lived years ago, but of course, imagination, interrupts in the way and makes from that experience like he makes it a short story eventually. I love to call it the love story that didn't happen. Not the love story that didn't complete. No, it didn't happen. Just a glance, just something, electricity in the air between two people at one moment, and it just he passed. The time was passed, and that feeling went after that went cold, and it's like it's not love. It's like admiration. Very مؤقت مش قادر
a temporary
thing, like a very fast fling,
but it's not even a fling, it's just
a fling by eyes.
An eye fling. So it's a mutual admiration that lasts during the episode and then is most probably forgotten until they meet years afterwards. I don't understand the finale. I mean, he sees her in that big studio again, somewhere else, but another studio that is, and they look at each other. There's that half of a smile, and then he leaves. And why does he leave? Because it's nothing.
Because there's the story didn't start to end. It was at that point it was just a memory, a very beautiful and very nice memory, but it is a memory. It's not really there.
Yeah, just like a lot of things happening in our lives. I mean, they are unspoken of and they just pass by. Maybe a lot of happiness passes us by without us giving it a chance. You never know.
And I think that's because, again, the base of the hectic life we are living, and the thick world which makes us doesn't complete many things, maybe very important things in our lives.
Right. Let's talk about critiques of your work. What was the best criticism you got for any of your works, and what was the worst?
The best, I must tell a story here. Dr. Ahmed Abd Elreheem, he is great. Dr. Ahmed Abd Elreheem, he's a great critic, and he was my professor in the High Cinema Institute. And I remember that I gave him a copy from my Facebook, and oh my God, he told me ما لم يقله ملك في الخمر, as we say in Arabic. He spoke for an hour, or maybe an hour and a half, telling me all the negative points in that book.
Which book was it?
المشهد المحذوف. And he didn't tell me anything positive at all, not even a line or title of a story. So
what did he teach you in the higher cinema?
نظرية الأدب. It was
literary theory.
Yes, and
or literary criticism.
Of course.
No, that would be النقد الأدبي.
هي نظرية.
Theories.
It's a theory.
Literary theory.
And I was shocked of me as a writer, and I was disappointed, and I was very sad. And I remember that I told myself, do not write anything for at least a year. And so after when I did my second book, I was so hesitated. Okay, would I give him a copy or not? I was so afraid. And okay, I did give him a copy. And after 1 month, I phoned him, and he told me two things. Number one, this is a better book. This is better than the first one. And number two, you are evolving or developing as a writer. And I was like the happiest man on the planet. That was like one of the most happy moments I have ever lived. As for the worst criticism, I think when I give someone a copy and ask him after that, what do you think about my book, and he tells me I didn't read it yet. I didn't read it yet is like an insult, because tell me I'm good, tell me I'm bad, but don't tell me I didn't read it yet. And
that's also the complaint of one of the characters in one of the stories. I've been giving him, he's talking about one of his friends, I've been giving him books for 2 years, and not once has he came back with a review or an opinion about any of my books. See, I told you there's autobiography in the work.
It's surprising for me to remember that book.
No. I mean, if I concentrate, I can tell you which character it is and which.
Remember صحتك بالدنيا.
صحتك بالدنيا. That's right. Yeah. When he had this friend who stopped reciprocating, who stopped the mutuality of friendship and caring, calling and stuff. So yeah. So you see, I told you there are some autobiographical elements after all. Yeah, it does hurt to do something and to expect an opinion from your loved ones or your friends, and you don't get one back, because it simply means they don't care. They're not giving you enough time to read your work and to give you an opinion about it. It's insulting, as you said, as you termed it.
Especially when it comes from a critic.
Yeah.
And the critic who had 2 copies, but anyway.
Let me tell you, didn't your professor name one particular negative point in your first book that became positive in the second?
Speaking in first person, ضمير متكلم, that was absent totally, nearly totally in the first book. He told me this would be good way to write, and I discovered that when I write with the first person, the reader will feel unity with me, and he will he will feel all what I'm talking about. He will think that سيتقمص الشخصية, يعني أنا مش عارف ولا.
Yeah, to be one with the character, or to reach what we call empathy.
Yes. I think it's a beautiful technique, and when I used it here, I think it was kind of successful, based on the opinions of many people.
What is your favorite story in Wlad El-Magnonna?
I think it will be مشكلة الشمس and المشاهدة in the last part of the first half, because the second half is all about very, very short stories. I think I went so far with imagination in them, and that was like an adventure for me, because I used to keep this imagination for the kids' stories. Now I use it for like an adult story, and I hope that this technique will continue in the future.
Which was the hardest one to write?
مخترع روبوتات. It was written 8 times.
8 times.
And the last part was the fates of all the characters. That wasn't there until the 5th time, right? Because he was the lead character of this story was a dictator, and it is somehow very difficult for me to being a dictator while writing, feeling that guy, how he thinks, how he expresses himself. It's really difficult for me. I don't think I'm a dictator.
Yeah. But as a writer, you should have the imagination of a dictator.
Yes, that's the hard job of every writer out there.
Yes, of course. Yes. So your favorite is مشكلة الشمس, and the hardest write was مخترع روبوتات, right? It was a bit weird to read مخترع روبوتات, full of scientific details, but the good thing is that nothing falls out. I mean, when you talk properly. Yeah, you're using computers. I mean, it's all a sort of computerized story, but it is well written in the sense that you don't feel like this doesn't belong here, or he chose or used the wrong expression or the wrong word, or it was properly written, and that's probably why you needed to proofread and to edit and so on. I prefer ابتسامة هند رستم, the idea of the photography thing, and it is so subtle and so deep without something really being said, and I think this is this subtlety isn't easy to be achieved in all the stories that you can write. I mean, or maybe it's just it's my own personal opinion. It has to do with, but I also like Mushkilat Shams very much because I'm a fan of magical realism. Okay, let's take a break and then talk about your next project, your upcoming book. This is still I've Been There, and we still have about 7 more minutes to go. Keep with us. How Could an Angel Break My Heart, and a track again from the 90s this time, coming from Tony Braxton. We've got 3 more minutes to go, and before we wind up with Ahmed Abd Elreheem, I don't want to say cliche, but the expected question at the end of each show or each interview with a writer: what's your upcoming book or your upcoming project?
I'm so glad because this morning I received the first copy of my third book already. It is a collection of short stories for children named Wlad El-Magnonna.
Wlad El-Magnonna.
Yes, and there is like a 4th book, collection of short stories for adults, but I am searching for a very merciful, very kind publisher out there to publish my work, but I think it is like a very rare type to find nowadays in Egypt. So to everybody out there, please tell me if you know a good publisher. Phone me and tell me about that.
Right. I hope you do land the publisher you need for your 4th
I hope
collection of adult short stories, and Mabruk for
thank you very much.
the children's collection, Wlad El-Magnonna. It should be out soon, right?
In a couple of weeks.
In a couple of weeks. Well, if you want to know which bookstores you can purchase Wlad El-Magnonna from, you can call us on 2578947. We can tell you the names of the bookstores. Ahmed Abd Elreheem, thank you so very much for joining me in I've Been There.
I'm really glad this hour is like one of the most happy hours I have ever lived in my life.
Thank you very much. That's very flattering. It's been an honor having you, and I do recommend Wlad El-Magnonna. It's a very good read and a collection of very good stories, and it will make you think about your life, about the people around you, and about the age in which we're living. Ahmed Abd Elreheem is the name of our guest, and he is the author of Wlad El-Magnonna. So I would advise the book, as far as children are concerned, they are asleep right now. Right, and I'd like to thank everybody who has joined us in I've Been There for this Sunday. Thank you very much. Hope you've had a good time with us, and I'll see you again next week. From sound engineer Wissam Mohammed, from myself, Omneya Badr, it's a very good night. And leaving you very soon, and very shortly you can join Sharif Latta with Classic Rock. Bye-bye.